Now it is my true pleasure to introduce Vermont Digger's new CEO, Skye Barsch. Before you come up here, I do need to say a couple things about this. Now, we knew as a board, finding somebody to fill such an important role wouldn't be easy. That's why we launched a national search. Now, we went coast to coast after months of interviews and follow-up conversations with candidates all across the country. We found our next CEO right around the corner in Middlesex. And Skye comes to Vermont Digger with an extensive career in local and national media, including roles at the Burlington Free Press, Times Argus, Vermont Life, and The Nation magazine. Most recently, she served as Vice President of Sponsorship and Market Strategy for Chalkbeat, one of the largest nonprofit news organizations in the United States. Skye is a force. She has hit the ground running this year and has been doing an awesome job. And it is my real pleasure to bring up Skye Barsch.
Just want to thank David and Ann again for that incredible conversation. Thank you. It's so good. So, let me just get my notes here. I first met Ann when I was working at the Cookie newspaper that Maria Arcangelo mentioned, and I was a rookie reporter, and Ann was an editor, and I remember this one particular assignment. It was a private school that was opening, and I thought it was a run-of-the-mill community news story. And I was about to leave to go out, and Ann had a long list of questions that she wanted me to ask the school board. So I took those questions and, sort of privately in my head thought, wow, this is maybe a little excessive. But I went to the school board and the volunteers and proceeded to ask them every single one of these questions. And I don't know how long later, they probably were sick of me and kicked me out. I came back to the newsroom and filed my story, and I'll never forget, Ann looked up at me and she said, wow, you asked every question I wanted you to. And I would love to tell you that the story ends with me revealing that I got this huge blockbuster scoop. I didn't. But had there been something there, I would have gotten it, and that is because of Ann. So I think what tonight shows us is that Ann has built something bigger than herself. Vermont Digger is an essential public service. We provide for free access to critical information Vermonters need to make informed decisions about their lives and about their communities. Our work affects who has access, who has a seat at the table, who's driving the priorities, and whose problems do and don't get addressed. I am so excited to have the opportunity to keep building on this. Part of what this means to me is continuing Digger's legacy of being an innovator. In 2009, many scoffed at Ann's idea of a digital-only newsroom. Now, nearly 90% of Americans say they get their news on a digital device. Ann, you were right. By using evolving technology and bringing even more voices into our reporting, we make our journalism more widely accessible to Vermonters of every stripe, whether that's busy parents who need headlines in the morning, readers for whom English isn't their first language, people who use adaptive tools to get their news, leaders and lawmakers, like many of you in this very room tonight, who rely on our investigative work and our accountability journalism. We are all more informed and effective because of it. Vermont is lucky to have VT Digger, and that is thanks to Ann. Just like she was there for me during my early part of my career, she's been there for me during this transition. She was one of the very first people to email me when my hiring was announced to say congratulations, and she's been generous with her time and counsel ever since. Thank you, Ann. We appreciate you reading VT Digger. We appreciate your support. And we really appreciate your news tips, and some of you have had some good ones, so please keep those coming. Sorry, just before I close, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to the Vermont Digger staff, not only for the tremendous work that they do day in and day out, but for making me feel welcome during my first 6 months in this role. They are a fiercely intelligent and deeply committed group of professionals. I also want to thank the board for their support and dedication in entrusting me with this great responsibility. And finally, I want to thank my wonderful husband, Brian, who has been incredibly patient and beyond supportive as I've taken on what I see as the professional opportunity of a lifetime. We're so grateful you joined us this evening. We are grateful for Ann, and we're so grateful that you will be with us for the next exciting chapter of VT Digger. Thank you.
Wow! Are we ready for the next generation of VT Digger? Yes, we are!
We're at the end of the night here, and we've had a wonderful night tonight. And before everybody heads out, I want to just finish with a final word. As we know, as we've heard tonight, and as we know, it takes a lot to make this happen day in and day out. We know it takes a big, talented team to create quality journalism, that the kind that Vermont Digger produces every week, week after week. Last year, this organization produced over 2,500 stories. That's all, about 50 a week. And that includes breaking news, State House news, and investigative journalism. It also takes loyal readers. Ann already mentioned this, but here's an amazing stat. The average readership of other nonprofit news organizations around the country is about 30,000 readers a month. Vermont Diggers, over 650,000 a month, including, on top of that, 42,000 email subscribers and 114,000 social media followers. And the last part of this, of course, is it takes financial supporters. Yes, we get some grants. Yes, we get some underwriting. But the bulk of our operating revenue is charitable giving, and that's all of you. So on behalf of the board, on behalf of the staff, we want to just express our heartfelt gratitude for your financial support to keep independent, nonprofit, local news strong in Vermont. We know, you know, there are a lot of headwinds out there. We've seen a slowdown in overall charitable giving. We know there's economic uncertainty. Inflation's persistent. And in order for Digger to be sustainable for the long term, we need to ask Vermonters to dig a little deeper to support reporting. But I'm really pleased to announce that one of our supporters has done just that. I'm so happy to report that in honor of Ann Galloway and her legacy, and in support of Sky's vision and the extraordinary work of the Vermont Digger team, we have received an anonymous gift of $50,000 for tonight's event. So I want to thank that donor, of course, but I want to thank all of you, because you support Digger in so many ways, and it wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you for a wonderful night. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Sky. Onward and upward from here, and pick up the Daily Digger first thing tomorrow morning. So thanks, and we'll see you all again soon.